speaking of C. Thomas Howell, because we just covered The Hitcher, our boy made quite a name for himself back in the 80s, and something that he put out there that maybe flew a little bit under the radar was a teen comedy where he found out firsthand just how much trouble a love letter can cause when handled improperly. So let's rewind back to 1985 and take one more look at Secret Admirer. So off the bat, we see the penning of this note of adoration before a young girl walks through a busy hallway and deposits that note inside of a school locker. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I mean, going through the opening credits, what a cast of characters that suit up for this film. I mean, we'll get to them, but it was pretty impressive right off the get-go. And C. Thomas Howell is at the forefront as Michael, and he kind of looks like and kind of navigates the hallway like a kid that would have bullied me when I was young. I mean, he doesn't look like your stereotypical geek that would slot into this sort of a role. Absolutely no idea how my guy was able to save that love letter from his locker when he cleaned it out, took this massive mountain of trash to a trash can, dumped it, stashed the love letter to porno mag, and raced off somewhere with the quickness. Once we see the eye candy of this movie, I kind of get why he was running as fast as he was. I would have tried myself if I was that fleet of foot. Lori Loughlin is in this movie as Tony, and she's Michael's best friend, as well as the author of the love letter, if you can believe that. We learned that actually pretty early on. Then, Mother May I, rest in peace to her, of course. I feel creepy talking about it like that. But Kelly Preston, God rest her soul, absolute vision in this movie as Debbie, who's dating this 20-year-old Neanderthal named Steve and is the object, the sole focal point of Michael's affection in this movie. Michael's got a great group of friends here with some highly recognizable 80s faces mixed in there in Roger and Ricardo. And Roger is my clear favorite because he's really in this movie the Robin to Michael's Batman. And this being the last day of school, the boys all rush off to Michael's garage, climb up in the attic, and just start throwing back some beers and talking about how they're going to spend their next few months. And then they find the letter as it falls out of this porno mag. They're all too excited to thumb through. And they read it out loud, much to Michael's chagrin, and they're blown away by the contents of it. So much so that they set out on a quest to figure out who wrote this to their good buddy Michael. And Michael is convinced, or at least he talks himself into the idea, that this might have been Debbie that penned this letter to him, and that really sets the summer on fire. This, of course, leads Michael, Roger, and the whole crew into a near-death experience at a frat party, which was way more fun than I could possibly explain to you on this review. Really good stuff. Roger drops a line on Steve that is absolutely priceless. There are a couple of moments there, though, when Tony and Michael, they're together later on in the night after the frat party, after the guys narrowly survive what comes their way, and you just see how good they are together, right? But it makes you wonder, and you know why he's infatuated with Debbie. Kelly Preston's stunning, but it makes you wonder why he didn't look Tony's way a hell of a lot sooner. But Lori Loughlin is one of the most breathtaking women of all time, even today. I mean, in the 80s, she was just stunning. And this is before she got John Stamos. So being awesome, and maybe a little bit of a glutton for punishment, Tony advises Michael to sit down and write Debbie a letter telling her exactly how he feels. And the irony is, when the letter sucks, because it sucks, it's Michael writing this letter, Tony winds up redoing it. And Debbie is blown away by all of the words that she's reading on this page from this secret admirer. And she is demanding to meet this person. And Tony is keeping the secret. She's not telling Debbie who wrote this letter, which drives Debbie completely crazy because Debbie plays this role. Kelly Preston plays this so perfectly as this girl who knows she's beautiful, she knows she's stunning, and she knows she can pretty much get anything she wants in life. So when she's told no, you get every bit of that temper tantrum that you expect to get out of a, girl like that, for lack of a better term. Now let's go ahead and get into this cast a little bit, shall we? Because we get Corey Haim, the Corey Haim, as Michael's thieving kid brother. Then, as if that wasn't enough amazing 80s overload for you, Corey Haim goes out, sits at the dinner table, and Dee Wallace comes out to chastise him for his Fruit Loops and hot fudge breakfast. Dee Wallace. I mean, come on, man. Y'all know how we feel about D. Wallace here at this channel. This is almost too much. I feel like this movie should have gotten way more attention than it did with what we have going on here. Now, the little brother sees Michael's letter on the dresser as he's swiping all this money, reads it, gets wide-eyed at it. Kids never heard words like that. This thing must seriously be like a penthouse forum letter or something, the way everybody loses their mind over it. But when Mom walks into the room as he's reading it, he shoves it into one of his dad's textbooks. Now, this leads to Connie, D. Wallace's character, finding it, being amused, but then breaking down in tears upon the realization that if this is her husband's, he might be having an affair. Either he's in the middle of it or he's on the verge of it, because those words mean something, and she is not happy to be reading them. Great scene follows this one, too. This is an underrated one in the whole movie, I feel like, but she's blaming her sorrow. She's sitting there sobbing. And then Michael finally gets out of bed, goes out, asks her what's wrong, sees his mom crying, tries to console her appropriately, and she blames everything she's going through in that moment on the mailman. She says, they're all lying bastards, they never do what they say, and it's hilarious because Michael sits down, he's about to do his Fruit Loop and hot fudge thing, which is weird, but he sees the mailman, pulls up, snaps on the mailman, and goes to reassure his mother that he does not think that the mailman's going to be late again. Now, if it had been D. Wallace crying and I needed to comfort her, I might have powerbombed that mail guy. So Michael did the right thing here. Then basically all hell breaks loose when these letters start being found, because Michael's dad, George, finds his son's letter in his textbook, assuming that it came from his teacher, who just so happens to be Debbie's mom. Then Debbie's dad, Lou, finds the letter that Michael/Tony wrote Debbie in Debbie's mom's purse, where she hid it from Steve, if you're following all of this. And the dad, Lou, played perfectly by Fred Ward, he sees the letter in his wife's purse and assumes immediately she's having an affair. And he's a cop, and he's Fred Ward. So you know he's just going to go ham on whoever is responsible for this whole thing. Assumes she's having an affair, and I mean, right at this point in the movie, down is up. The world is on its ass, folks. It's kind of hard to keep track of what's going on, but you're still amused by it no matter what, because it's Michael's set of parents, it's Debbie's set of parents, and everything is coming to a collision course very, very soon. After the second letter gets written from Michael to Debbie, Debbie learns that it's Michael behind all this. Even though Tony is doing all the heavy lifting, Michael gets what he wants, and he gets to date Debbie for a little while. I mean, this all includes a topless makeout session at the popular makeout spot for the town, which unknowingly leads them to being surrounded by both sets of parents sort of commingling with one another. You know, you got Michael's dad and Debbie's mom, and then Lou and Connie are sort of staking out the situation to see if there is in fact an affair going on before they hint around at fooling around themselves. It's just completely wacky stuff. The saddest thing about this film for me is Tony's heartbroken throughout most of it. I mean, some scenes she wears it well, some scenes she just completely buries it, and some scenes it just bums you out. Because she loves Michael, but she can't tell Michael for fear of ruining their friendship. She just doesn't want to lose him in any sort of capacity. And Michael, on the other hand, he's so blinded by how gorgeous Debbie is and how he's finally got what he thought he wanted, but then he sees she's materialistic, she's petty. She goes so far as to make fun of the way Tony looks, and you know, that's Michael's friend, and Michael thought that was Debbie's friend. And he realizes that all that glitters is not in fact gold. Then we get to the stage of the film where both sets of parents agree that they're not going to have affairs. They're not going to pursue it. They're done with it. There's a brutal brawl at bridge night between both sets that put both marriages in jeopardy until they're at home. They're duking it out with each other over what happened or what they think has happened. And then each set of parents brings up the letter with an earshot of the kids. And Michael flips out because his mom and dad invaded his privacy and took his letter. And then Debbie does the same thing. And then the parents are like, oh my God, the letters are our kids. And they make up. Now the kids themselves are heartbroken. Debbie and Michael have just had a really bad falling out at this point, and the parents reconcile. And Corey Haim gets beat up for stealing, and Tony is devastated the more she realizes that she won't be having her happy ending in this film. Loved the ending. Goes precisely as it should have gone, and with a lot of these romantic type comedies in the 80s, you can often get really lost or bored with the scenes that our leads aren't in, but that's not really the case here. The whole group, the whole cast was very fun, very memorable. This is a rewind that I accidentally stumbled upon on Tubi one night, and I got glued to it with the quickness. I've seen it before, obviously, but I had forgotten how good it really was. I mean, Lou dressing down Steve when he's trying to feel on his daughter is one of my favorite moments in cinema, if you can believe that.
Holy shit, you're getting pretty big. What's your curling these days besides your hair, hand job?
Daddy.
8 out of 10. It's an 8 out of 10 for me. It ages gracefully. I really enjoyed Secret Admirer. It's such an underrated and forgotten gem, and I think you should check it out. I highly recommend it. This is Aging Gracefully. I am Matthew Essex. If you've seen the movie, comment below. If you're going to see the movie, comment below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the other side.